Hello, friends. We are back together again. I am fresh off a flight. I'm tired. My voice is still not returned from All Out. My hair is fucked up, but my God, do I love professional wrestling. And do we have so much to get into today? We are, but what, 24 hours removed from the start of what would be an insane day of professional wrestling, both good, bad, and palooza-y. But we'll talk about all of that. I want to get your thoughts, obviously, on what you guys thought about yesterday. It was a pretty historic day. One of the very few times that AEW and WWE have ever gone head to head. At similar times at least. Of course, we had All In earlier this year. That was like another one of those times. But I want to hear you guys have your voice heard. Let me know, what did you think was better, AEW All In or WWE Wrestlepalooza? Again, the voice will be in and out. My voice is cracking like I am a 13-year-old dude, but whoo-wee, am I ready to talk? There also is the super chat goal. So I think it's like there are 5 super chats by the end of the stream. There will be a special announcement guaranteed made this week that I'm planning to share with all of you. But hopefully you guys don't hit that goal, so I don't need to announce it. Anyway, what did Kenny Bomb think of the squash match? He just kind of shook his head and said, "Man, I guess we're not watching that." Basically, more or less, that's kind of the reaction. Although I don't know, Kenny might be in the chat somewhere. He might be lurking. If you are Kenny, let us know what you thought of that. But monumental show regardless. I was obviously at AEW All Out. If you guys follow me over on X at RealOmerq, you will have seen my live real-time updates to everything that was happening as it was happening. Of course, sharing my feed as I do every time I go to any arena for a wrestling show. I had to let the Scotiabank Arena know what was up. On top of that, posted, me and Kenny in our seats. Also, by the way, very good seats for those of you who may not be aware. Like, the Scotiabank Arena is a pretty big arena, and we had really good seats, all for $99, and it was worth every penny, worth every single penny. Let me just say that. But fantastic stuff. We had Edge, obviously, Cope, whatever you want to say, his song getting sung. We had my hero, the greatest professional wrestler of all time, Bryan Danielson, who, by the way, caught strays from the most mid wrestler of all time, Mike Mizanin, which I will definitely get into. I love the stage too, Wall Street Money. Yeah, this asshole here. Shout out to Chris Statlander. Me marking out, crying, literal tears in my eye, goosebumps everywhere for Jurassic Express. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And as I said, my official stance on the matter, AEW is the standard when it comes to professional wrestling. Insane night. Glad I got to be there live. 9 out of 10. But folks, I lied to you. I have to say this. I lied to each and every one of you. All of you people in the chat who have been here before, or everyone who has been listening to me for the past couple of weeks, I lied to you. Because what I said was, I was not going to watch WrestlePalooza. And it was my full intention not to. Then I heard about the results. And I said, morals be damned. Because it's like, when you watch one of those videos, it's like a car chase, right? And you're like, oh man, like, yeah, I don't really want to watch this. This is, look what's gonna, but then something's gonna happen in the end. Something. That's the mood I went into watching WrestlePalooza, because I was at the airport. I was like, you know what? I'm too addicted to pro wrestling not to watch it. I have watched every single match other than the tag team match, the Jamie Uso versus the Vision tag team match, and this still rings true. Just watched every match at WWE Wrestlepalooza other than the Uso tag team or tag while at the airport waiting for my flight. This was earlier today at 9:30 a.m. I'm obviously back in Real Take Studios. I am in awe of the incompetence of Paul. For those of you who are wondering who the fuck Paul is, that is, of course, Paul Triple H Levesque. What a decisions were made, and I know many of you guys are wondering, like, "Whoa, what was that weight screen?" It was this was me. This was me. Well, everyone out there, and again, I don't consider myself to be a tribalist or whatever, but everyone out there who is talking about Brock's return is going to be great. Brock's return is going to be huge. Brock's return is going to do they're going to tell such good stories with it, bro. Where y'all now? Where y'all now? Now, WrestlePalooza wasn't entirely an awful show. It had, again, what I think is the gold standard within WWE, an insane women's wrestling match. Io Sky versus Stephanie Becker, which I will talk about later on in the show, was fantastic. It was excellent. It was everything WWE should be, but isn't. And we'll talk about that and so much more. Be sure to smash that thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe, all that jazz. Been a good weekend. All Out was great, and my Panthers have shut out the Falcons. Wait, I forgot. Football is on right now. I totally forgot about that. Oh, my God. Wall Street Money says the stage was nice. Yep, the stage was very nice. No chandelier, though. No chandelier. Could have done with more chandeliering, but that is where we are. Everyone's saying the crowd last night was not good. The crowd was very loud. I heard from people as well, and I kind of watched some of the moments back. AEW needs to do a lot better job. AEW needs to overhaul a lot of their production, in my view. I think the production is obviously the weakest part of the show. I thought there were aspects of it that felt better last night, but overall, I mean, miking up the crowd, making it really capturing the energy in that arena is key. And that has been something I've consistently heard. Even last month, Forbidden Door genuinely might be one of the loudest shows I've ever been to live. Forbidden Door earlier this year in London, last month. And it was, it did not translate in the same way at all on TV. So I think that is an AEW production issue. That is not an issue of the crowd. That is not an issue. I saw some people saying, Toronto is what you get for giving Toronto a pay-per-view. I'm like, okay, come on. Toronto's a fantastic wrestling city. This was, I think that was on AEW. They need to do a better job of capturing their audience. The Green Bastard was backstage. Yup. That was crazy. And then he dropped an F-bomb. If the special announcement is AEW 3 nights in Yankee Stadium, I'll break down and cry tears of joy. If that is what it is, that would be an ambitious and insane thing, but it would be interesting to see how people would do it, or how people would react to it. It's a great price. It was a great price, and yes, much better than the $6,000 to watch a squash match. But I'll share my thoughts on WrestlePalooza as well. What a time we live in, guys. What a damn time we live in. Okay. I know all of you are probably wondering what the experience was like, what was going on. So, obviously, as I said at the top, I went to Toronto. I was in Toronto over the past 2 days. Kenny Baum and myself, we went to AEW All Out in Toronto, and it was fantastic. And it, look, call it the high of just returning from the show or whatever, but I think this is up there for pay-per-view of the year. And I truly think that this was everything you could have wanted out of a wrestling show. I genuinely mean that. It had great matches. It had the blood and guts. It had the emotional moments. It had comedy. It had a main event that delivered. It had it had several shocking moments, returns, debuts, everything you could have wanted in a major wrestling show you got from All Out. Everything that we are expected to desire from a major wrestling show you got from All Out. Everything that professional wrestling is supposed to be, you got from All Out. And I have said it before, I'll say it again. The pay-per-views that AEW right now are producing are top-notch at a level that I think like they're outdoing themselves at. I don't think they've done a pay-per-view like obviously that has reached the height, if you will, of All Out 2021, which I still think is their best pay-per-view ever. But the consistency right now is next level. And this is after the latter part of last year, those pay-per-views were not good. So like they were on a run of like for AEW, like the bar obviously is a lot higher than WWE, if I'm being honest, right? Because like WWE can put on a shit pay-per-view, but a big moment saves it. Whereas in AEW, the entire show is judged on its actual merit, not just some bullshit moment that happens at the end. This is just, it's so crazy. Like Kyle Fletcher is I'm spitballing all my train of thought. Kyle Fletcher is a future champion. He proved that. I think Jack Perry, Jungle Boy, whatever he's going to be called, like that is a nice feel-good thing and a change of direction his character needed. JD from New York has said All Out felt like a long episode of Collision. Yeah, I'm not going to, whatever. He can, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I mean, irrelevant to me in a degree that like I just don't care. Just next level irrelevant to me. I don't care what JD from New York thinks. Nor do I want to know what JD from New York thinks. Most of the time, AEW pay-per-views are very well done. Most of the time they are. I think right now, though, it's like they're outdoing like their own standard right now. I thought it was a well put together show. Still was pulling for a heel Fletcher in the main event. He'll eventually win the world title. I think he will. And you know what? If you guys want to know when he's going to win the world title, my latest video, Fantasy Books, exactly how he should win the AEW World Championship. So as soon as the stream is done, go over and watch that. What are you talking about? Last year's AEW did not miss on pay-per-view. No, they missed. Wrestle Dream was underwhelming. I understand the reason, but Wrestle Dream was underwhelming. Outside of Ospreay versus Fletcher at Full Gear was a bad show. World's End was a horrible show. Outside of the two of the Continental Classic matches. So, look, we can split hairs here. I'm giving you my opinion, right? But I think there was with the Death Rider storyline especially, there was a perceived decline in the quality of pay-per-view. I think Revolution, they started to get things back on track. They had 3 matches back to back to back that I believe are probably the best 3 matches any company's ever put on back to back to back like that. In Toni Storm versus Mariah May, Kenny Omega versus Konosuke Takeshita for the international title, and then the cage match for between Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. But then it was followed up by like a horrible main event between Copeland and Moxley. Why care what other people are going to like? What they like? Yeah, I agree. Dude, WWE blows AEW out of the water. WWE and TNA are way better. I don't. TNA is better than WWE. like if we want to be really honest, like if you're watching, like Impact is a better show than SmackDown, and that's not even close. Like SmackDown is just a bad show in my view. Personally, I think Raw has its moments. WrestlePalooza was horrible, and that's like besides the fact that I don't know who. Again, I don't know who the partner is, whether it's ESPN or WWE. I believe there's a press release that indicates one way or another, but I haven't read it, so I'm not going to comment too hard on it. But there was a freaking like 5G gold bar, like snake oil ad on a WWE PLE last night, which was followed by, I believe, a Hulk Hogan tribute beer ad, which was followed by a Riyadh season ad. Personally, for me, look, I understand corporations are all evil. There's levels to this stuff. WWE shilling an anti 5G like gold bar to their audience, whether it's again through their partner ESPN doing it or them, I think is weird. But let's take that out of the equation completely. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena was bad. Okay, it was bad. Seeing AJ Lee in the ring was awesome. I have thoughts on how I think the actual execution of that match was. I didn't like it. Okay, and that's again my opinion. Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes was a fine Friday night SmackDown main event, but it was not a pay-per-view main event. The only I'm not even going to talk about Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. That was bad. It was horrendous. The only saving grace that show had was the Women's World Championship. And as has been the case the entire freaking year, Io Sky consistently bails out this company from having some of the most unwatchable big shows that they have ever had. WrestleMania Night 2. After WrestleMania Night 1 was bad. We all know it was bad. WrestleMania Night 2, she was the only thing that saved it. She's the only thing that saved it. Like, come on. Like, her and Stephanie Becker went out there. And look, we want to talk about it. Triple H promised surprises. Look, there's going to be a spectacle that you've never seen. Look. All this. Was the surprise Stephanie McMahon being in the Hall of Fame? It was a surprise. Okay. Cool. I'm fine with that. And I think Stephanie McMahon deserves to be in the Hall of Fame based off of both her work backstage and also her work as a character. That's cool. I acknowledge that, and I'm here for it. But at the same time, like, this is your big debut. Like, I went into this and I was like, this is gonna be like the Raw on Netflix debut. And unfortunately, I was proven right, I think. It was like, even, but like, at least the Raw on Netflix debut, like the opening video package that Triple H had, like, was better. It was just, anyway, I don't want to go. I think it was, for what this show was to be promised, in my opinion, I think it was just bad. It was just bad. We got Oracular in the chat saying, can we all agree that if Seth Rollins doesn't beat Cody Garbage Road, Seth Rollins is buried forever? I mean, I think I would actually have Cody go over. Mostly because I just don't care for Seth's character right now. Vision versus the Usos was a really good match with LA Knight as a special guest referee. I will check it out eventually. Although, I don't know. I will check it out. But again, I just, this show was just, and perhaps it's like being there, watching All Out, and then going to watch Wrestlepalooza, and you're just like, it's not even like it's different. Like, these are like two different like types of shows. These are just two different genres almost. It's just it's unfair. It's maybe it is that. Maybe it's just unfair to compare AEW and WWE because one company just is more entertaining than the other. Like, one company just is better at putting on high quality shows. As someone who's at Forbidden Door, the matches were really good, but the stories just aren't there. Plus, lots of wrestlers in AEW do too much too often. I think there's certainly something to be made about the too much too often, but I think the storylines in AEW have had more of a through line than they've ever had, to be honest. At least since, I would say, the pandemic. In WWE, I think storylines and storytelling have taken a backseat to just moments and pops, cheap pops. Wrestlepalooza was again, if it was not built up to be what it was alleged to be, and if it was like if this was a special edition of like SmackDown or a special edition of Raw or like a like a one-off B pay-per-view, I think it would have been fine. That's not what this was sold as. Just saying. Meanwhile, All Out was is in the running, I should say, for Snow of the Year. Or for Snow of the Year. Oh my God. Someone said Snowman in the chat, and I said, for Show of the Year. Snow of the Year is crazy. Oh my God. Y'all are wild. Y'all are wild. Snow of the Year is crazy. WWE met their objective. Counter-programming wasn't about showing up AEW by comparison. It was about stealing the headlines. Everyone is talking about how awful WWE is instead of how great AEW is. You can only do that for so long until your goodwill runs out, though. I truly believe that. Drew's being booked like a jobber. I wouldn't say a jobber. I think Drew has a ceiling under Triple H and WWE. And that ceiling is just like he's world championship material, but he'll never be WWE champion ever again. The women are again carrying WWE very easily. Like you want to talk about like I think it's unfair to compare the women's division in WWE to the men, because I mean the men are just it's insane. It is absolutely insane. Like if you're looking at Wrestler of the Year in WWE, Io Sky is running away with it, and no one's even in her same stratosphere. Like Cody, give me like the only give me one good Cody Rhodes program. How about that this year? Give me one good program, not match. Yeah, that match against Cena at SummerSlam was legendary, but give me one good program. Give me one good Seth Rollins program. Give me one come on, man. Maybe I'm too jaded to buy into the hype. Maybe that's it. But I'm just like, come on, man. Like, if you're going to promise something, deliver in some way. In some way. In 2022, this was WWE was putting on the best shows. WWE had the best storylines. Triple H was the best booker. How did we get to this point where he's getting outclassed by Shawn Michaels? He's getting outclassed by the booking in TNA. He's getting outclassed by the booking in every single major wrestling cup. How did we get here? How? There's a difference from a WWE fan in 2025 versus a wrestling fan who has to watch all companies but caters to AEW more for its wrestling style. Why did the referee stop Drew from hitting the move? Made no sense. Global brand. A lot of the problem is that people want WWE and AEW to be on the same even playing field, but sometimes they just have two wrestling companies being different. There's being different, right? Look, and I'll say this. From my perspective, I'm someone who likes like a lot of different styles of wrestling. What WWE, or I'll say this, what TNA does is very different even from what AEW does as far as like their styles of wrestling that they cater to, the type of wrestling they do, the type of promos they cut, right? But I have an appreciation for both. CMLL, obviously, or Triple L, like they do very, very different styles from the American style. The production, the storylines even are very different from each other. And the storytelling, I should say, are very different from each other. But with WWE, I think like even if you're trying to look at it objectively, it is just so transparently corporatized. It is so transparently aura farming. It is so transparently the lowest, it is just so transparently the bottom of the barrel of what we can do, cruising stuff I've ever seen from this company. Like WWE in 2025, in my view, from a quality standpoint, is where it was at in 2019 when we were all calling for Vince McMahon to be fired. And I know for a fact Triple H knows how to book. This is not an indictment on Triple H's ability to book. This is an indictment on Triple H's willingness to book a good week-to-week program. This is like, homeboy, like, what are we doing? You booked the Bloodline. You booked some of the best moments in wrestling. Like, you are responsible for NXT Black and Gold. And you're gonna bow down to TKO and Saudi's whims of just doing whatever the lowest common denominator thing is because it's the easiest thing to do, and you can create buzz, create moments, make money. Come on, man. And then you're too much of a coward to do actual press conferences because you know for a damn fact one of those people in that room at least is not going to be state media. One of those people in that room at least is going to ask you a critical question about, hey, so Brock Lesnar allegedly, Brock Lesnar was, allegedly the only reason Brock Lesnar did not engage in sex trafficking was because he either fell asleep or there was a snowstorm. Allegedly. How does it feel knowing that that is looming over your company? How does it feel to know that fans are disengaging with your product because of this? How did you reconcile those allegations with bringing him back to TV? How did you reconcile in the same week admitting that, or in the same week putting on the show, but also admitting that you didn't even book the show last week and that you didn't even watch the show? What? I don't think he cares. I think that's what it comes out. I genuinely do not think that Triple H cares about how, like booking the show. There's just too much of a track record recently of this year of carelessness in booking. Of they are going to eat up everything we do, num. Let's not give a shit and just put out names. That's what it is. Would you say that Becca and Lyra elevated the women's IC title? I think it did. Again, this is like, look, I genuinely, I don't know what's going. I think Triple H might just like give like the women's division more leeway. I don't know what it is, but like the way that they're being booked is very different from the way the men's are being booked, and it's just it's so night and day. But even then, like for every like great Lyra Becky match, then you have like that in weird match at SummerSlam. You have Bayley getting taken off of TV. Like you have some weird stuff. I hope the important announcement by Tony Khan on Dynamite would be about putting on a big show in 2027 WrestleMania Saudi. I don't know. I don't think it'll be that. I would highly doubt that this early they would announce it. Especially because I don't think you want to give WWE the opportunity, or you want to give up WWE as little opportunity as possible to counter program it. Like 2 years out, you could definitely gonna have them putting something on. But that being said, Tony has said that in 2027 there will be a major Revolution pay-per-view, and that he said that he is looking into doing something that weekend. So we will see. Guys, if you haven't already done so, please leave a thumbs up on this video. Super Omega says, I saw that at the same time All Out started, WWE put on Road to WrestlePalooza with Triple H live. It's ridiculous counter programming. I mean, the counter programming, here's the thing. The counter programming would be fine with me if it just, if it was like, if the reason for counter programming was more so we're worried about our show and not everyone else, I would be fine with it. But it's very obviously like not that. I can see AEW having a major pay-per-view in Australia or Arena, Mexico. I think they're definitely going back to Mexico. We know they're going back to Australia. So we'll see. I think it's something about the women's tag team championships. I know that, like, look, we I know that those titles have been like Like those titles are around. Like they exist. They just have not like announced them yet. But yeah, that's weird to me. That's very weird to me. Like that they never haven't announced them. I hope that it is the tag team championships. Um, because if we're at like we're almost a year after, I guess, they were kind of like made. Like I don't know. It's just weird to not have after you built up this women's division, right? Like that's the thing I was saying about AEW. It's like there's a weird like level of like long-term storytelling sometimes. It's just like, okay, man, like, did you forget about the fact that you had built up all of these women's tag teams? Did you forget about the fact that you built up all of these different factions like in your company? Because it's been a long ass time, and it feels like you could have had like a tournament when they were red hot, but you didn't. You didn't. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Weird stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, well, not so weird stuff. Thank you, Red, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Did you see Will Ospreay post a picture of Ben and Jerry's Scoop-a-Palooza ice cream and say, what a shit name? Not only did I see it, I am showing it to everyone right now. As Red said in the chat, Will Ospreay earlier this week, after a very successful surgery on his neck, posted the following on his Instagram story, and it's just so funny. It's the name of this ice cream is Scoop-a-Palooza. If you zoom in very closely, because you gotta like zoom in very closely, you can see Will in very tiny letters said, "What?" Oh, here it is. What a shit name. Obviously taking a little bit of a shot at WWE. I think it's more lighthearted than anything else. Knowing Will, but who knows? Maybe he's just over it. But little cheeky Nando's from Will. Little cheeky Nando's. Anyway, I do wonder how things would be if Triple H I do wonder how things would have been with Triple H for those 5 months, July to December back in 2022, before Vince came back selling the company. I don't know. The fact of the matter is we don't know. I think Triple H, if TKO was not around, would probably have lasted longer, being a very competent booker. But that being said, like, the decision to make, like, I think the downfall of him as a booker was WrestleMania 39. Like, that's when like things kind of started to spiral. Then the TKO merger happened. But I think being whatever it was, because at the end of the day, it's a lot of speculation, it's a lot of hoopla. But one thing we do know is that the original plan for WrestleMania 39 was Cody going over. And at some point close to the show, it was changed. So, are we forgetting Double or Nothing, arguably the best pay-per-view from AEW? I think Double or Nothing probably had the best match that AEW had this year, but this was a very strong pay-per-view. Will is a proper user, the bruff. WWE added a last-minute house show next month after Crown Jewel, and the third row tickets are going for $2,000. Is this in Saudi Arabia? Or no, this is in Australia. I mean, look, man. I mean, third row, I guess $2,000 is not that bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. TKO is killing WWE. No, I mean, well, they're making a killing. They're making a killing. I mean, the product is what it is. Like, I'm not. Again, it's. I don't know. Like, maybe the purpose of and maybe it is me. Like I'll be the first to admit it. Right. There's certainly different styles of wrestling I like better, but I have like rarely have I ever like checked out of WWE outside of like the pandemic. I never really checked out. There was like a couple of months in 2019 when I was in college. There was a couple of months in I mean there was like that era right after the Benoit tragedy that like I like fully checked out for like 2 years, 3 years. Well, I was still like around it, but you know what I mean. But other than that, I've been watching pretty consistently. And this is like one of the first times where it's just been like, all right, no pandemic, no major horrendous murder spree like was the thing that took me out of it. It was the actual show. Like, it was the actual show, and me just being like, this is not worth watching because it is not a show that rewards you for watching week to week. If I'm watching Raw, I'm expecting things to build up on Raw, on Smack, whatever. That wasn't happening in the way that was entertaining. It wasn't happening in a way that made sense. It's just bad. I don't think it's like wrong to say that. Again, it's just an opinion. I don't think it's wrong to say that. TKO together with Triple H creative is destroying WWE. Again, I mean, destroying is subjective though, because it's like they're like, it's not like it's not hurting the company. The company's still red hot. They announced this show in Indianapolis like a month and a half ago, and they sold over 13,000 tickets. Like, they are not being destroyed in the least. They're taking a lot of reputational damage amongst wrestling fans, but they don't really care about those fans because their idea is they will get new fans. And, in some ways, I think they're being proven right. Cody going over at WrestleMania 39 was a Vince McMahon idea, and Triple H changed it to Roman going over at Mania 39. Thank you, Triple H. The aura at the end of Mania 39. I would look. I don't know anything, but I would definitely think that it was the other way around. Drew been buried this entire year, crazy. I don't think he's been buried. He's what he is, man. I think people expect Drew to be like, this god tier, S tier, like, Cody Rhodes level main eventer, which he's totally capable of, but he's never going to be booked like that in WWE. Like, let go of it. Let go of it. It's like expecting Ricochet to be like the world champion right now in the AEW. Like, no, it's not going to happen right now. Let go. He can do other stuff that's important. I'm not like, I would love for Drew to have like a really cool thing, like a really cool angle that leads up to a big WWE championship match, but that's never going to happen because there's only like 6 guys that are going to be in that picture for WWE, and he's not one of them. He's a very, very, very top guy, but he's not Roman. He's not Cody. He's not perceived as Seth, who I would put at the bottom tier of like this big tier of guys. He's not Cena. He's not Brock. Like, he's not any of those guys. He's not Braun Breaker, who I think is going to get there. Randy, who's probably going to be the one to probably, at this point, I would expect to take the belt off of Cody. And then they'll do the Randy versus Cody stuff, and Cody will win it back. He's not The Rock. And that's not me saying that. That's not me giving you my opinion. I'm giving you what the TV show that I have watched religiously for the past almost like at this point, the past like my entire life is telling me. I want to see Drew would do in AEW. Well, you're gonna have to wait a couple of years because he's locked down to a long-term deal. Pox Razor Jezza Darby was crazy. That entire I clicked the wrong button. That entire sequence with Darby Allin, the entire match itself, Darby stabbing Mox in the ear, giving him a bit of a make good from last month, to like Darby after the match, like hitting the pipe through the coffin, opening up the coffin, then setting Mox on fire was crazy. I don't think that there's going to be, I don't know what's next, because you can't do, I just thought about it. You can't do an exploding barbed wire death match in AEW with fans, so I don't know what the end goal would be. Maybe it's like a buried alive situation. Maybe it's like a lights out match with Mox and Darby. I don't know. You got to do something, though. Something big, because this was already insane. I don't know how you one up the burning alive of another human, but I'm sure AEW and Tony Khan will find a way. Just like they found a way with that tables and tax match, which is crazy. And shout out to MJF, man. If you guys have not seen what MJF has done in an insane span of like less than 24 hours, MJF on Friday night wrestled in the main event of the CMLL, the 92nd anniversary show, I believe. The anniversary show, he wrestled what is definitely going to be in my top 10 matches of the year, I think, at least at this point. Who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of months, but MJF wrestled Mystico on Friday. Fantastic match. It was title versus mask. I recommend you go check it out. In my view, that was the match of the weekend. It was art. It was pro wrestling art. They had that match. And then MJF from Mexico City that night, late at night, flies back to Toronto, over an entire country, flies to Toronto, shows up, wrestles the third match on an early start AEW pay-per-view with Mark Briscoe and kills it again. Kills it. I'm not going to spoil anything, don't worry, but you need to go watch the match. MJF, I know there's like a lot of people, and then, but by the way, MJF, then, in the middle of all this, he's shooting a movie in Winnipeg. So he's like probably going to be at some point like today or tomorrow on his way back to shooting that movie in Winnipeg. Here we go. We got a fun chat here. Why don't you just work for AEW? You like it so much. I'll watch a horror film if I want blood and guts. You're ridiculous. I don't work for AEW because I don't believe. Well, number one, what would I do for them? What, pitch them ideas? What would I do for AEW? What would I do for AEW? Now you did it. What would I do for AEW? Would I pitch Tony Khan ideas? Would I go get Tony's coffee? What would I do? No. Like at least if you're gonna hit me with like an insult, come up with something better than this, please. Why don't you just work for AEW if you like it so much? It's like telling them, why don't you go work for WWE? If I had it my way, I wouldn't work for any corporation. I've said whatever. What fucking ever, man. You know the reason I don't work for like a wrestling company is because I enjoy wrestling too much. Because I want to talk about CMLL. I want to talk about New Japan. I want to talk about the good parts of WWE. I want to talk about Io Sky versus Stephanie Vacour. I want to talk about Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair fucking killing it at WrestleMania. Those are the things I want to focus on. But I talk a little bit about how I think that Triple H is hurting a brand that I grew up watching, that I think Triple H is giving into the demands of evil corporate jackals in TKO who only care about one thing, and that's extracting value. I bring up that criticism and I expand on a little bit, and people get in their little hug box, and they're just like, what? You don't like AEW? Go work for AEW. Why would I go work for AEW? You know what I would be doing? If I could afford to go to WrestleMania, I would go to WrestleMania, dog. But those tickets are too damn expensive. You know why I go to AEW shows? The tickets are easily like purchasable. Like they're affordable. They're affordable. Come on, man. Oh no. Whatever. What fucking ever. Omer pitching ideas of how Bryan Danielson will be world champion. And you know what? That's true too. I would be a horrible person to bring into a wrestling company to book. Because I'd just be like, all right, look, Bryan's going to win. End of story. Bryan Danielson wins the world championship, and then the company goes under. That's it. We're ending the company today. That's literally what I would do. I mean, not literally, but I mean, yeah. I'm a fan. it's hard to reinvent your character in WWE because, like you said, Omar, they have guys that they want to highlight. It's hard for guys like Melo, Finn Balor to break into the main event. Like, and that's the thing. Melo is, man, I feel so bad for Melo. I feel so bad for Melo, man. Like, I loved the shit he was doing in NXT. I loved it, man. He was Mr. NXT at one point. This dude has everything it takes to be the Shawn Michaels of his generation. And like we've been treading water with him for like a year and a half. And there's no end in sight. We've been waiting for the Street Profits to finally go their separate ways. I've been waiting for a Montez Ford singles run for what seems to be like the better part of 4 years, and they've been treading water as a tag team, not really doing much. It just feels like all these big moments, all these big stars that WWE has the potential to create, all take a backseat to Brock Lesnar, all take a backseat to Roman Reigns, all take a backseat to whatever the whims of the final boss, The Rock, are. Like, all right. Then you're wondering why people don't connect. Like, this is no different than what people were saying about Vince McMahon back like in 2015. Come on. This is no different than what people were saying from back in the day about Vince McMahon when Vince said, Cesaro's just not connecting for some reason. Maybe it's his language, whatever. But in reality, it's like, when was Cesaro allowed the opportunity to show you what he could do? We all know what Claudio Castagnoli is now. When is Melo gonna get that chance? I fear they knew they had no space for Trick on the main roster, but they couldn't keep it in NXT. So they're like, damn, all right, make him TNA champion. I shudder to think what's going to happen to Obafemi. I pray that I'm wrong. But if we're sitting here, Obafemi debuts on the main roster, and he's like fighting, a returning Zack Ryder for the U.S. title, I'm going to be sitting here asking major questions. Because Obafemi is a guy you need to shoot to the mountaintop ASAP when he comes up. Braun Breaker is a guy who I think we'll all agree is lined up to win the 2026 Royal Rumble, or at least should be lined up to win the 2026 Royal Rumble. I hope he does. I hope he get that thing. I think that's the one thing I could see happening. But come on. Vince was actually cooking 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. That's going to be a separate episode. 2008, 2009, 2010. Well, I mean, no, the guest host era was awful. Come on. We can all agree on that. Me, when I found out Wrestle Vibes and Real RTW were the same person. It was you? It's like the Spider-Man meme. Yes, I am Wrestle Vibes as well. Like, Sami Zayn should have been the one to beat Roman in 2023, but he's not the face, and he's not the face that's going to be on ads or be in movies, so they decided against it. That's 100% what happened. If you are looking at a storyline and like a natural conclusion to a storyline that you had built up, that involved the characters that you had built up, that involved the characters that were central to all of the different elements and moments that made up that story, I think either Sami Zayn or Jey Uso should have been the one to beat Roman Reigns. I will die on this hill. That is not saying that I didn't want Cody to get his moment as the champion. He should have had it, but because we know how these decisions are made. But if we're being honest, the bloodline didn't catch fire till Sami Zayn got involved. And then that's when WWE had some of the best TV that they had in nearly 2 decades. Just saying. If you want something to be good, you criticize it. I agree. Bro, take the title off Cody, man. But yeah, no. If you want something to be good, criticize it. if fans weren't hijacking Raw and just chanting Daniel Bryan in 2013 and 2014, bro wouldn't have main evented Mania. He was lined up to face Sheamus. He was lined up to face Sheamus. I have no allegiance to WWE. I have no allegiance to AEW. As far as I'm concerned, they're both exploitative corporations. That's what companies do. That's what companies do. Tony Khan is the son of a billionaire, one of the richest dudes on the planet. Like, I got no reason. got no reason. Like to work for or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. That's what you can tell I'm annoyed. So I guess whoever that chatter is, they succeeded. Yes, no, I do have an allegiance to New Japan, but only when Geto is gone. When Tanahashi relieves Geto of his obligations, then I will be all in on the New Japan train. To see 90% of Wrestlepalooza was mainly wrestlers in their 40s not using younger talent. Total waste. Yep. It's safe to say that Brock versus Cena and Seth versus Becky versus AJ versus Punk both felt like retcons. Brock versus Cena was a bit late in the game from what's been reported. I don't know about Becky and Seth versus AJ and Punk, but I'm glad AJ Lee got that moment, though. The moment was cool, I will say. The moment was really cool. It was really cool to see her wrestling in the ring again. And you know what? Like, for that, like, say what you want about the match. Like, for that, like, that's all that match needed. I feel like Tatum Paxley is another potential world champion in NXT. She's over with the crowd and consistently improving. I agree. I have allegiance to wrestling outside of WWE. I'm too poor to follow WWE. No, seriously, I really am. if not being able to afford to watch WWE makes you poor, then I guess we're all kind of in that boat. A lot of people criticize Wrestlepalooza. A lot of them call it the scam of the century. I don't think. I mean, like, look, the shows are always whatever you're willing to pay to watch them. Like, that's the value of the show. That's the value of a major contract or whatever in like football. So that is what it is. But at the same time, there's actual scamming that was happening on that show. Like, this 5G gold bar thing, I can't get over, guys. Like again, AEW does like AEW is a corporation as well. I am not trying to take anything away. WWE does the evil side of being corporate way worse than AEW. What a 5G detect, or what is it? A 5G reflecting gold bar? What? Whatever. By the way, Omar, I have tickets to the MLW show in November. It's always a fun time. Maybe you'll see MJF. He's been at a couple of them in the past few weeks. Wrestlepalooza, more like Hey, come on now. Can we talk about Mox? Can we talk about how sick Mox is? Yeah, no, Mox is sick. I stand by it. Him as the world champion was really boring. It created one good moment at the end, but overall it was really boring. But ever since he lost that belt, I think the stuff that he's done with the Death Riders has been really good and really solid. More to the idea that you don't always need the world championship in order to make a program. The only thing I like about Wrestlepalooza was Stephanie Valkyrie versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's World Championship. That sentiment is shared with quite a few people, I think. Maybe I'm thinking about what happened with Seth Beck, Corbin, and Evans in 2019. That was bad. That was really bad. Bryan Danielson swearing on commentary made it feel more realistic. Yes, Bryan was cooking. Well, speaking of Bryan, because I do want to get to this. Man. Because, look, things were said. Things were said by a certain Mr. Mike Mizanin. They're not sitting right with me, so we got to address it. All right, so one of the most mid wrestlers in WWE history, Mike Mizanin, said the following about arguably the best technical wrestler of our era, potentially all time, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson.
Spot that you are, man. Well, I've had people tell me that I have a spot that you are, man. Well, I've had people tell me that I have a safe way of wrestling, but that person is no longer here anymore, so we don't need to talk about him. I've also
So, little drive-by on Bryan by The Miz on the WWE Wrestlepalooza kickoff show, featuring a veritable who's who of celebrities and talent. It looked like a really fun time. It looked like a good show, probably better than the actual pay-per-view. But what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? I'm gonna be so real here. The Miz is genuinely the most overrated star of the last 20 years in WWE. And the thing I would say is, The Miz can probably credit his most relevant moment of the last decade or so to Bryan Danielson. Because if it wasn't for Bryan being the foil in what was otherwise just a whiny promo by The Miz on Talking Smack, it's just where would we be? And yes, that moment was for him more relevant than him winning the WWE Championship a couple of years ago for the second time for another mid-title run. And there will be people who say, The Miz is fine. I had someone very close to me. In a group chat that I am in, who I will not name right now, but they told me that The Miz. Well, let me pull up the exact quotes here because I'm not gonna out who this person is, but if you're watching, you know who you are. You know what you said about The Miz, right? But when I spoke about The Miz and I gave my thoughts in the chat, this person says that, yeah, I already seen you crying on X. And I responded with, what's your favorite Miz match or promo that didn't involve Bryan? Because you could argue that Miz's best match was him versus Bryan. I believe it was Night of Champions 2010 for the United States Championship. Or his best promo was with Bryan. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? And I asked this person, I said, what's your favorite Miz match? And they said, they had the audacity to respond with John Cena and The Miz at WrestleMania 27 WWE Championship main event. And I said, bet. And they responded, that shit went hard. And I said, bet. We watching that in Discord this week. I need you to explain to me how what people regard as one of the worst main events in Mania history is good. And to this person, I'm telling you now, I'm not going to allow you to be on your phone during this. You are going to have to carry me through this match because I'm the one who's wrong here. You're going to have to carry me through this match and tell me precisely why this is a good match. A match that has been panned by even the most loyal WWE superfans and state media members. Am I wrong here? Miz versus John Cena 27 is genuinely one of the worst matches in WrestleMania history. Again, maybe I'm the wrong one. Maybe I'm the one with the issue. I don't know. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But that's crazy. I had to share that because I was like, what? Bryan doesn't even do flips, bruh. Have you watched any of its matches? Oh, what's going on? Do we have people here? Who is the Miz? Miz, more like mid. There's some bad blood between these two. Yeah, very obviously some bad blood. The only accomplishment the Miz has ever did was marrying Maurice. Lucky man. Shout out to Miz for that. You know what? Shout out to Miz. Wrestling aside, he is winning in life. You got to give it to him. The Miz versus Dolph from No Mercy was a good match, but you can count good matches from him with one hand. You're not we. Here we go. So wait, am I wrong here? Let's put it to a vote. You know what? We're doing it, man. We'll put it to a vote. Let me say this. What did you think of Miz versus John Cena at WrestleMania 27? And I'm not going to even lead you guys with this. It's going to be good, bad, or no, we'll do fine. We'll give multiple options for good, or didn't watch. Because I know some of you people did not watch that match, as you shouldn't have. So I'm going to put it in the chat. We're going to take a little bit of a poll here. You got multiple options. It's good, bad, fine, didn't watch. I need to know. Because, again, perhaps I'm the one who's wrong here. But I feel like the WrestleMania 9 main event, Hogan versus Yokozuna, like those are in like those are the ones that are in the running. I know everyone says LT versus Bam Bam Bigelow. But most people haven't watched that match. It's in the bottom like 10 for sure, but it's not like the worst. But this was a pretty bad match. This was like exceptionally bad. You're not wrong at all. Miz versus Cena is the worst match in Mania history. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page. Congrats to two ladies who won their titles. Yes, you know what? While if you didn't watch that match, you're lucky. Okay. While the voting continues in the chat, we are going to talk about the big highlight from last night, and that is that women's wrestling is so freaking up. Not only did we have Stephanie Vacour's crowning moment 16 months after her her Forbidden Door match with Mercedes Moné. Was it 16 months? Am I lying there? 12 plus 4? About like whatever. 14, 15 months after her match with Mercedes. The one that put her on the map. The one that got everyone talking. The one that got her in the door in WWE. Stephanie Vacour, after winning the WWE NXT Championship, after positioning herself as one of the top tier stars, both in the way she's presented on TV and, of course, through her dope professional wrestling, feuds with the likes of Julia, feuds with the likes of Io Sky. It finally culminated last night in her winning her first ever WWE World Championship in a match against Io Sky that I thought was excellent, spectacular, stupendous. These two were a bright spot on what was otherwise a pretty whatever pay-per-view, because, again, I don't want people to get all sensitive in the chat, but this was the bright spot. This was the high spot. This was awesome, man. And what I loved about it was this was for like the wrestling fans, and you could tell. And it's so fitting that in WWE, in a year where the women have carried this company on their backs, they are finally getting the flowers they deserve. And this is despite the fact that the company is putting them in bad positions multiple times over, forcing them to save WrestleMania, forcing them to go out there and have this Evolution pay-per-view and be like the third show of the weekend in that city. Despite all of that, they made it work. And they have been making it work. And it's because of the hard work of people like Stephanie, people like Io. And that show of respect that Io Sky gave Stephanie Vacour and vice versa last night genuinely was a moment that should make all wrestling fans cry, because it reminds you how real this actually is. It reminds you how epic professional wrestling can be when you just have two people telling a story in that ring. Because at the end of the day, when you strip all of the hullabaloo away, when you strip all of the pomp and circumstance away, that is what you're there for. You're there for the fight, the emotion, and these two delivered it in a way that I don't think any other match definitely on that card delivered it. And I would say it was definitely more fitting on like a major AEW card than it would have been on a WWE card. But I'm glad that it was there because hopefully for however many new people ended up watching on ESPN, we're not sure how many that actually was. They got a glimpse of that, and that hooked them. And I hope that happens. I hope that more fans get hooked on that. I hope that more fans get hooked on the storytelling that these two were able to do. It was spectacular. Man, oh my God, I love how. But and look, we'll come back to the Miz later. I'm giving the flowers right now, man. Shout out to Stephanie Vacour. By the way, let's like. I'm just so happy for her too, man. I'm just so happy for her because, like, dog, she's so good. She's so good. She looks like she's having the time of her life there, and I'm so happy for that, man. 100% true. Yep, 100% true. The ending of Io versus Vacour was the most memorable moment, an outstanding display of respect and honor. Facts. What do we got here? Oh no, don't fight in the chat, people. Do not fight in the chat. No one's wrong. No one's doing anything wrong. We're all having fun. We're having fun. Are you going to any other shows? There's if like tickets are relatively affordable, I'll probably end up going to Full Gear. I promised Brian and Kenny that I would go to Cena's last match in DC, but as I said before, if Lord Moldy Butt shows up to that show, I am out the door. Or if they advertise Lord Moldy Butt, I'm not going to that show. And for those of you who do not know who Lord Moldy Butt is, think back to Billy and Mandy from a couple of you from your youth, probably. At the moment, AEW Women's Division may be better than WWE. I'm not going to compare those women's divisions. If you want me to, I think WWE's is still better. But as far as the way that they're booked and overall, but man, after last night, like AEW, they really showed it. Like Riho and Mercedes, by the way, is not going to get the recognition it deserves because it was number one on a card that had like a lot of insane matches. I think the crowd kind of like lost obviously the crowd kind of was like all right, we knew that Riho's not gonna win, so why should we care? But man, they got that crowd back. They got that crowd back towards the end. I thought those two had a very special match as well. Honestly, like when we go back and think about like some of the big moments of wrestling in 2025, I think it's like gonna be across both companies a lot of women's wrestling. There's a lot of women's wrestling that's going to shine out. And I'm not saying Riho versus Mercedes was like, a 5-star classic or anything, but it was a very good match. And I think better than a lot of people thought it was going to be. You also obviously had the big moment, years upon years, 6 years in the making, Chris Statlander pinning the world champion Toni Storm with the seatbelt pin in that fatal 4-way that everyone believed, like, Chris is there to take the pin or something. Like, I just want to say, I was the one who said Chris should win. I've always said it. I've been saying it for the past couple of weeks. I said, Chris Statlander's got to win. It's got to be her. It's got to be Stat. And she did. And if you watch the press conference afterwards, her interview was fantastic. You could hear the emotion in her voice. And I'm interested to see where they go with this Toni Storm gimmick. Because, like, Toni was doing this really cool, like, almost, like, shocked. Like, she was in such shock that she didn't realize what just happened. She didn't realize that she had just lost her entire, like, world. The world championship that she's coveted for the past couple of years. And I think this could be a really good sign for what's to come. Because we could get potentially like a Chris Statlander, Toni Storm one-on-one match, or even better, maybe we get like a bit of a descent into madness for Toni Storm, and this leads to maybe a heel turn. A lot of cool things on the horizon. And for Chris, right, like, I think there's a bunch of ways you could go there. The Death Riders are certainly recruiting her. Wheeler Yuta seems hell-bent on getting her involved. Jon Moxley is very much in the interest of recruiting her. So I don't know what that's going to be. And maybe like the end game of that, and this would be cool, is Willow ends up getting like turned on by Stat, and Stat ends up joining the Death Riders, and then Willow's the one to take the belt off of Chris. Hey. Oh, that would actually be epic. Yo, Tony. Okay, now I work for AEW. All right, yeah, know what? Fuck everything I said earlier. I work for AEW. I am Tony Khan's right-hand man. It is me. It is Omar Q. I get Tony's coffee, and I also pitch him fantastic wrestling storylines that he steals. Tony, steal this one again. I want you to do a heel Chris Statlander who joins the Death Riders to lose to the one, the only Willow Nightingale for the AEW World Championship. Do it. Do it, you coward, Tony. You damn coward who pays me all the money in the world, who drops a direct deposit of like $50,000 every quarter into my bank account. Do it. Do it, Tony. Our Lord and Savior, Tony Khan. Please do it. Please. Jamie Hayter's forever babyface, our 1970s girl. Yeah, and oh no, I think Jamie's gonna catch fire too. Let's see. We got another question here. It's interesting. Who dethrones Monet? I would say it's either going to be Queen Aminata. I think they're building her up for something big. It's either Queen Aminata, like it's someone new. I don't think you do it to someone who's been around for a while and like established. I would say either Queen Aminata or potentially like, I'm not gonna say Harley Cameron because people are gonna get mad at me. Hey, Harley Cameron. Give Harley Cameron the dub, man. She deserves it. Are they putting you in the Death Riders? Yes, I am in the Death Riders. In Mox we trust. Yeah, I'm in the Death Riders, man. I'm growing out. Why do you think I'm growing out the bushy beard? The hair is all messy. Look, I'm in the Death Riders. Where's my? I don't have a black shirt yet. Actually, wait. I'll be right. You know what? You guys wanted it. You guys want? Actually, no. I don't got what I need to be in the Death Riders right now. All right. Cool. We'll do it. We'll do that gimmick later. Mercedes next AEW champion. Book it. We'll see. Maybe. I think she'll get to it. Maybe. I mean, I would do her versus Willow for the belt. I think that would be more interesting. What will be Tony Khan's announcement? This is so old school AEW. I would expect women's championships. Either that or a major show next year. I think Willow should be the one to dethrone both Mercedes and Statlander eventually. Ooh, a double champion Willow would be crazy. That would make her like S tier. That would make her S tier. That would make her like, yeah, that would be off the charts. But see, like that's the dope part, man. Like you freed up this championship so that now there's so many different ways it could go. And that's why Chris is such an interesting like character too right now, because she's still moldable into like whatever like, she's going to end up being, whether it's joining the Death Riders, whether it's just being like, a babyface champion who's like not afraid of anyone, not afraid to defend the belt. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. Completely agree that Willow should dethrone a heel Chris. I also agree that either Queen Aminata or Harley Cameron should beat Monet. Yeah. I mean, Queen Aminata would be so cool. Like, because, I feel like that title, if Queen Aminata wins that title, it would help her immensely. And it would help establish her immensely. Because she's been around, like, I think the thing with her is, like, unless you've been watching Collision religiously for the past, like, couple of years, certainly for the past year and a half, you're probably not as familiar with Queen Aminata. even though I think she's been more and more of a fixture on Dynamite lately. But just watching her evolution is crazy, man. She's really good. She's really, really, really good. Tekla looks great. Tekla's another person. Tekla's another one, man. Maybe you do the Triangle of Madness. You have Sky Blue and Julia Hart. Again, I'm tired. I'm still getting my voice back. What a 24 hours it's been for me. Anyway, but maybe you do that. Maybe you do the Triangle of Madness. Two of them hold the tag team belts. Tekla holds the AEW TBS Championship. Maybe you do that. Kenny Baum stole Amanada's passport. No. That was last month. She lost her passport. Good shout, though. Tony Khan's special announcement will be to say he appears believe in Joe Hendry. That would be why. That would be like a Rick Rude appearing on Nitro moment for a lot of WWE people. Megan Bain, Omer's crush, will probably be a future champion. Why is this in parentheses? What is... Look, so what if this is true? So what if this is true? I'm not allowed to have crushes? I'm not allowed to have crushes who are fantastic wrestlers? Didn't AEW hit those... Which numbers are we talking about? Oh, gosh. 1.1 million 10, 15 years ago ain't a good metric. Didn't hit those numbers the last 2 pay-per-views? And people watching something doesn't make it automatically good. I'm not sure what we're referring to. If this is like the ongoing... this is the ongoing thing. Are we debating Miz's... Wait, I'm not going to get in the middle of this. You guys fight it out yourselves in the chat. Just be respectful, please. But like, I'm not getting in the middle of I just saw we're talking about buy rates for the Miz's in WrestleMania. I don't know what I don't want to. I'm not taking sides in that. We're talking about women's wrestling, people. Come on now. One more month for Mercedes to pass Jade as a TBS champion. Yeah, I think it's like 23 days or something, and then the question really becomes like, okay, when is she going to lose the belt? Is it going to be right after? It's going to be later? We'll see. It's definitely possible. Hunter, especially since Dynamite is in Pittsburgh this week. Dynamite is in Pittsburgh. Or could we see Britt Baker back? Yeah, I think that could be a return. We already know that we're getting Orange Cassidy back. That's a big return for AEW. Kirkle and Oracular are having some intense rhetoric in the chat. That is some intense rhetoric. Enjoy your rhetoric, fam. I watched the Miz's WrestleMania at Buffalo Wild Wings. I hopefully at least the wings were good, even though the match was garbage. I would see Willow win the AEW Women's Championship, but I don't think Tony's gonna give it to her. I think Tony understands what he has. If he doesn't understand what he has in Willow, then then I think she needs. I mean, she's not gonna go because I think she's re-signed. But if we're not leading something big between Chris and Willow, I don't know what we're doing here. Britt Baker and freshly squeezed double return would hit hard. That would hit hard, and a Britt Baker return in Pittsburgh would go crazy. Oracular refuses to take the L. What do you want me to do? This guy brings in numbers trying to prove Miz was actually good when everybody disagrees. Miz sucks. Learn to deal with it. I like here's what my favorite Miz like feud is. I think it's the thing between him and Shane McMahon. The funny thing about that is like Shane McMahon outclassed him in wrestling. In that feud. Fucking Stone Cold Mike Mizzana was hilarious, I will say. I loved it. He's just, I'm fighting off all the security guards. Like, that was really funny. You see Copeland's tribute to Cena. That was really cool. Of course I saw. I was there live. I was part of the tribute. You can't see. I was like, do it. Dude, people were like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, no, do it. Do it. He did the spear for you. Michael Cole said it was for Roman Reigns when he knew damn well it was for Cope or Edge, whatever. Like, come on, man. Come on. I feel so bad for Hayter. I think Jamie's going to be on the rise. I think Jamie's going to be doing important stuff. Willow will eventually win the world championship. She's the ultimate babyface of women's wrestling as a whole. I 100% agree. I think there's no woman who better exemplifies babyfacedom than Willow. Maybe EO. Oh my God, EO versus Willow would go crazy. I just thought about that. Statlander versus Britt for Stat's first defense. Is Britt taking the L? I mean, she would have to. I don't know if she's taking the L on a return like that. Millions of people put Trump gold. Wait, what do we got here? Oh, I think the chat's just stopped populating. Uh-oh. I'm getting canceled. Yeah, I can't pull up the chats anymore, I guess. That's crazy work. Whatever. Well, I can still read them, but I can't pull them up. It was right when Carrico sent the Trump chat. Oh, there it is. It's back. Oh, yeah. See, cancel culture came for me, and now it's and then anyway, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. What do we got here? Oh no, now it's still being weird. Is it me or the NXT Women's Champion JC Jane looks like DMD? I don't know if she looks like DMD. I don't really see that. Millions of people bought Trump's gold stakes. They're still freaking suck. Get better. That's crazy work. I don't even. I'm not touching anything. The chats are just like randomly popping up. My chat tool has been hijacked by or possessed by like a ghost or something. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, its guess is back. I'm back in control. We're still fighting. Uh-oh, chat is not working. I would not mind seeing that match again. Hunter, Jamie is going to be okay. She will be the world champion. I think she will be the world champion again. Buy rates are not a measure of how good a wrestler. Oh my God. I need to stop this. Kind of see the resemblance. I mean, I don't. Oh, Mina Shirakawa. Maybe it's me. Maybe Mina beats Mercedes. Ooh. Maybe it's Mina. We got Wall Street Money. Dude, I'm a New Japan Pro Wrestling nationalist. I don't want Zack to be the world champion. I'm not a sports entertainment fan, okay? What is this even in reference to? When did this crash out happen? I don't want Zack to be the world champion. I am not a sports entertainment fan. Why we can look? I'm not saying Zack Sabre Jr.'s had the best year, but it's certainly not been the worst, has it? I mean, no, it's been pretty bad. You know what? I think that match with Shota at the beginning of the year was just, it left such a sour taste in people's mouths. It's been pretty bad. It's crazy. I'm like, bro, we've been waiting for like some of these New Japan stars to break through for a while, and like the one guy they had breakthrough finally was Goto, and then like they took the belt. Like, I mean, I guess he got injured or he was filming Street Fight or whatever it was. They took the belt off of him, and then they were like, okay, Evil. Here's Evil. like what? And then, okay, now we're putting the belt back on Zack. We're gonna push Evil a little bit. I'm like, well, bro, the Shota Umino experience has failed. I mean, look, he's not a failure, but like the experiment right now is failing. You got a guy to fix this. We got what? Where's Red Narita? What are we doing with Red Narita? He was supposed to be. What are we doing, bro? Where's Show? Chicago Bears are on fire right now against. I need to turn on some football after this stream. Zack Sabre Jr. needs a better competition in New Japan. I agree. I actually think Zack Sabre Jr. is the best wrestler in New Japan. It was not this year. not like pure wrestler, maybe for sure. But man, oh my God, Goto was so cooking, bro. What are we doing? Ghetto needs to pay for those crimes. Look, forget Triple H's crimes, all right? Under Trump, those are not crimes anymore, I guess. But Ghetto needs to pay for his crimes. That's crazy work, what he's doing. That is some crazy work, what he's doing. Anyway, okay. Well, and I think we have a conclusion to the shenanigans in the chat. You won. The Miz is the best. I'll blow him later because he's that good. That's wild. All right, guys. All right. On that note, I think it's time to shelve the rest of this conversation until tomorrow, which I will be live tomorrow, guys. Same channel, same time. Well, no, not same time. Probably like 6. Around 6 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern time, I will be live talking about professional wrestling stuff. It'll be a fun time. Ghetto should be put on trial right now. Who will be Cena's last match? I pray to God that it's not Brock Lesnar. I hope it's like Braun Breaker or Obafemi. I think you got to go out big with a young guy. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, I have to run. I am tired. I need a nap. I need some water. And I need all of you wonderful people to smash that thumbs up on your way out. Till next time, be happy, be healthy. As always, keep it real. Free Palestine. Bye, y'all.